Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound, and today we got the Pocket Change Market Report, this time for March 18, 2023. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today, where we take a look at some of the most relevant, easily searched errors and varieties that folks like you and I have come across simply by going through good old basic pocket change. Maybe coin roll hunting is another way to find a few of these coins. Keep in mind, we're in a brand new year, and some really neat stuff has been found thus far. We have a few to talk about again today that you guys definitely don't want to miss. But in addition, folks are actually doing a little cherry picking, at their local coin shop or show. Another great way to find some of these coins, and it's a way that you could add a really amazing variety or error to your collection for a very minimal cost, or it'd be a great way to supplement your income by simply finding these and reselling them. I know a number of people that do this for a living. A lot of roll hunters looking for silver. They're also double dipping and looking for some of these errors and varieties and are doing exceedingly well. So we're going to take a look at all of those here again today. And we're going to focus primarily on the last 24 hours of auction activity on eBay. So March 17th, March 18th is our sweet spot here. So really up to the minute market activity for a lot of these coins. A couple little quick housekeeping items before we head underway. Of course, we don't talk about graded coins. The big reason why: it costs money. Especially when a lot of these coins certainly sell for themselves. The error and variety market, they're an easy bunch. They'll buy and take any of these coins as long as they're attributed correctly. Again, pictures are going to play a huge role as you're trying to sell these coins. So make sure you kind of bone up on your close-ups and taking a full obverse and reverse photo of every coin that you do sell, and you would do really well selling on this platform. And another thing to also keep in mind, that we are using just the regular main images on every single listing. We didn't doctor any of them or kind of juice the photos at any point to make them look a lot better than they are. You're getting the best and the worst photography out there. So if anything, you might be getting a little bit of a photography lesson by the time it's all said and done. The bar is set really low. So that's the good news. If you can take photos with your smartphone, and it doesn't matter what you have, you could usually do a decent job at that. Then you'll be able to sell on this platform again really easily. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in and let's see what folks are finding out there. And we are going to kick things off here. Oh, yeah. Guess what? We have another coin auction. I almost forgot about this. So we had a coin auction last night. Went really well. Probably a little bit too well for a few of my viewers. It's a great way to buy some coins at a really, really, really good price. We ended up auctioning a $400 coin, and it went for $180. So someone stole that one. And there are other deals like that, whether it's through me or some of the other sellers. Just keep in mind, if you're tired of the eBay or the Facebook or the YouTube auctions and you want something that's a little bit more reliable with more, diversification, a little bit more variety, then, Whatnot might be the platform for you. So come check us out. I got the final auction of the month landing this Wednesday, March 22nd. It's going to be called the US Type Signature Auction, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, as usual, I will have the link to my referral code down below in the description box and also pinned into the comments field as well. So if you guys haven't signed up and collected your $15 of credit to use right away on your first purchase, make sure you do that. It's a great platform, and they are a trailblazing platform for future auctions. So definitely keep an eye out on them. All right, now for sure, let's go ahead and dive right in to some of the coins. Again, one of my favorites, it's going to be till the end of time, one of my favorite dates to cherry pick in general. It doesn't matter if they look as good as this, full mint state red. Doesn't come across, too often in change. Oftentimes there are folks kind of looking for the BU rolls of these, and they're disappearing. Not nearly as many of these particular dated BU rolls out there, and if you do come across them, I hope you pick them up. If they're cheap enough, I would pick up a number of them. But we have 1972, always a big date. This is the FS103, also known as the Double the Die Obverse number 3. One of the big Cherry Picker's Guide varieties for the state. And this one right here is highlighted by phenomenal looking doubling, primarily in the motto "In God We Trust" is some of the strongest. You do have some on the first few letters of the word liberty as well. So LIB, and it's just really nice. And then you will also have a little bit of doubling on the date as well. You can see a little bit of that double tail that is evident here on the 9. I would say this is probably more of a later die state because the features are kind of soft on this one as far as that variety, but always a good one to be on the lookout for. Always kind of use the motto as your main focal point as you're cherry picking for these coins. So this one ended up selling for $29.90. Next one that we have here, it's actually a really nice example of a 1998 Lincoln Memorial that exhibits the infamous wide AM reverse variety. This was the reverse that was intended for a proof coin. So the mint accidentally struck a few business strikes, actually quite a few of them to be honest, with the wide AM proof reverse. In this particular case, this one is actually a very nice mint state red. I'm not going to go out and say that it's like a mint state 66 or something like that. Probably more so like a 63 if I had to guess, which is fine. This is going to be a coin that will be picked up. These things used to get up to about $20-30 as recently as last year, toward the tail end of, kind of like the heat up of the more minor variety market, and things have settled down a little bit. Here's a little bit of a close-up, by the way, of that A and M in America. You'll see that pretty noticeable gap separating the A and M. This one ended up selling for $14.99. So pretty good deal for someone that did swoop in and pick this one up. Okay, at first glance, this looks like an off-center strike, but it doesn't really count if it's off-center on one side. No, not really. This is actually a different type of U.S. Mint error. So it's a 1965 Lincoln Memorial set, and this is something that we call a misaligned dies error. So the obverse die obviously had a little play to it. So after striking up so many coins, the wear and tear process begins. All right, and usually part of that wear and tear process is going to be some of the components getting a little bit loose. So with that being said, that's how kind of like what we have here. And normally with misaligned dies, you're going to have a really well struck reverse. If the reverse is off center by the same margin as the front, then that is indeed an off center strike. But when it comes to misaligned dies, anytime you begin to have certain devices cut off a little bit, in this case the 5 and the date, part of the bottom tip of the bust of Lincoln here, are all kind of like little hallmarks to look out for what is considered major in misaligned dies. But in any event, this one sold for $7.50. I think overall condition's okay. It's got some carbon spotting on the reverse, and that's kind of what kind of suppressed the value on this coin. Usually, off-center struck coins of this particular date range are worth more money than the misaligned dies. Because the off-center strikes, they could be more offset by quite a margin. Whereas misaligned dies, they only, one side of it only looks off-center to a certain degree. And then they just kind of stop there. Oh, did I mention $7.50 for that 65 Lincoln? All right, so here's our first 2023 coin of the day, and it's going to be on Betsy Coleman. I've talked about this one before, but there are a number of die chips you can find on the coin. including on top of the airplane on the reverse. That's been quite popular these days. While they don't sell for a ton of money, they do sell for $5 to $10. Always look out for those as well. This one right here has the wart nose is what they call it, or the pimple nose, or something. But anyways, this is a die chip right on the tip of Washington's nose. I know that in previous year or last year's coinage, like the Wilma Man Killer and maybe the Sally Ride, the coins that exhibit the same die chip on the tip of the nose have done really well. I've seen them sell for as high as $20. This particular example here ended up at $8.84. Keep in mind, I mean, that is a worthwhile find and sale. So for those of you that are finding quite a few of these, I would say throw them up for $8.99. Take advantage of eBay's plain white envelope auction. And use up some of the post office's resources for packing material that's free. Like cut up, medium-sized boxes to accommodate a packing, and you'll do really well on these. So, yeah, anytime you could sell these for between $7 and $8, that's a really, really good deal on this. And these are actually quite common. People are finding quite a few of these out there today. All right, the next one that we have here is the Lincoln Memorial Cent. We don't know what a date is on it. And the type of error that we have here is a coin that was struck through a cap die. So in this particular instance, we don't have any readable date or anything on there. Okay, so that kind of disqualifies the late die state nature of this cap die. And you probably don't see too much in the way of a brockage, right? That would be the corresponding reverse image of the coin in question that's stuck to the die itself. So after many strikes, the reverse design on that coin will flatten out to a point where there's no discernible design detail that's transferred onto the struck coins. So this one I would say is probably more of a mid to late die state, but not very late die state where you can actually see the actual date on there. This one right here, again, these are all very well collected. This one sold for $40.14. Again, much like the misaligned dies, you're going to have a really nice regular strike on the reverse or obverse. I've actually seen a struck through cap die both on the obverse and reverse of a coin. But all in all, very good looking coin. I would say problem free for the most part. And it also has a pretty cool little die crack on the reverse bottom left of the memorial. Not the main focal point of this coin, but it's worth talking about as well. All right, the next one that we have here is a 1900s something another Jefferson nickel. It could probably, if we're looking at like the most common dates where you could find this type of error, 1999, 98. Those couple dates are very common for not only off-center struck coins, which is what this one is, but also broad strikes as well. So this one is off-center, I would say probably by 60%, give or take. Good-looking coin. Usually these sell for a lot more money when they have a full readable date. That matters most to collectors as they try and assemble full date sets of these. Now, this one does not have a full date, nor do we know what the mintmark is. But all in all, again, a very good-looking mid-state problem-free coin. Sold for $27.38. Our first lot of the group is actually quite interesting. This one has a lot to enjoy here. As either a great error set to pick up, or, I like to tell folks, look out for lots like this. Someone who's selling a lot is willing to accept a little bit less money by bulk selling it rather than selling them individually. So this would be an opportunity, say, for someone to buy it. If they get it cheap enough, then they'll go ahead and turn around and resell them as separate little auctions. So this one would be 5 separate auctions. So selling them singularly, might net you double the amount of money that you had originally paid for the thing. And that's kind of the big idea. Now, is there a lot of room for opportunity on this one? Not really sure. I think it might be a little bit too high in my estimation, but let's talk a little bit about the coins that are in this lot. So we have that 1985, what it looks like a P Mint candy half dollar with some strike through on the obverse. It looks like right over the word "We Trust" and top of the date, the 8 and 5 of the date right there. A little bit of strike through, some grease, some debris. We also have a 1983 P Washington quarter. Now that one right there is slightly broadstruck, a little bit off center. So that's what we have there. We also have a 1980 P Roosevelt dime. That one also is slightly off center by about 10%. The Jefferson nickel is a wartime silver. It's got the P mint mark above the dome in Monticello on the reverse. Very nice, I would say, mint state example. And then finally, we have a copper-coated Zinken that is off-center by about 50%. So that one, probably the least spectacular out of the 5 coins. But getting back to that nickel, this is actually a very nice RPM. I believe it's RPM number 2 for the date. And this one right here, this whole lot right here, sold for a decent, fair amount of money, $74.95. Was the sale price. Now, a lot of the value, I would assume, is draped into the Jefferson nickel that you see here. And also, you can't really tell on this image here, but there's also a little bit of lamination issues on the obverse of that nickel. All right, so that may enhance the value a little bit, or it might detract from it. You know, it's high enough graded that, and because it's an RPM, that the lamination might actually do more harm than good. But always research these if you're looking to buy this particular type of lot. Always research the individual coins and see what you could get out of it, because you don't want to buy something like this, resell them as like buy it now listings on your store, and end up just breaking even. That's not how we do it here. So always pay attention to that. All right, we got another half dollar here, 1984 P Kennedy. Man, these things were so horribly struck. Anything from the early 80s for just about any coin, pretty bad. But check out that eagle and the shield on the reverse. There was definitely some grease happening here, so this is another technical strike-through error. You know, I think because a lot of the main focus is on that bird on the back, the eagle. That's why this one is a lot more interesting than it should be. Some will look at that and say, wow, man, that thing is worn kind of unevenly. It's just on the, you know, the shield and the eagle's, like main body area. But no, this is indeed a strike through. You know, it's only on that particular area on the reverse. So this one ended up selling for $9.50 with 11 bids. For those of you that are avid roll hunters of this particular denomination, because we're all looking for silver, always be cognizant of errors like this. As minor as they do look, they're certainly worth more than silver these days. Here's another off-center 1983, this time a P Mint. Now, granted, this one does have condition issues. There's a myriad of different scratches on not only the obverse but reverse of the coin. So, you know, was a coin like this that's slightly off-center with scratches, it's a technical details grade coin or damaged. You know, do these have no value now? You know, plus it also has a pretty sizable rim bump right here next to the motto. So it's a coin definitely with issues, but it's still worth something. This one ended up selling for $14.66 with 7 bids. So definitely don't toss these back. They do have value. All right, so it's not 2023, but, you know, we're barely 1 year removed from some of the just amazing coins that people were able to look for last year. This was another one of them. All right, this was the 2022 P Sally Ride Reverse with the Clash dies. All right, so this one was heavily hunted for. At their top, these things did sell for about $40-50. And they came crashing down because people were finding them. But you could see a lot of those clash marks here and here as well. So that's a clash of Washington's profile that was on that reverse die. Now, this one right here, I will say, has a few contact marks on there. So at the very least, know exactly what the difference is there between the two. This one even has a little bit of clashing under the ear, which is quite interesting. You just don't see a lot of those with that there. So these are not $50 anymore. So where are we at here? This one sold for $19. So that's about as best as you could expect for these. I've seen them sell for between 15 and 20 bucks on a regular occasion. So that's still not bad. You do come across these and they're still in really nice shape with lots of luster, and you could probably call it BU. Then you could still do really well selling these. All right, Brian Rybar, well, he has one less of these because I bought one before I went live, or I went and started the PCMR for today, but he had a number of 1961 D over horizontal D Lincoln cents. These are the well-known FS501 Cherry Picker's Guide varieties, and dare I say it, one of the coins that I think over time will age very well, and people are going to be looking at and trying to pursue some higher graded specimens of this coin, primarily to grade. Because if you're able to score like a Mint State 66 example of any of these coins in a PCGS holder, that's going to be a very expensive coin. But in case you guys forgot what these look like, you can see the D punched over a horizontal oriented Denver mint mark. Wow. Incredible. I mean, this one easy to see, and you can see this one very easily with a 8 to 10 times power magnifier. So I'm happy to say that Rybar still has a few of these available. I think 3 as of this video, and each one is $28.90. So he sold another one, and I also bought another one for myself. So, yeah, one to look out for here. Good looking coin and a very well known variety. All right, so we got the good old Washington crossing the Delaware back showcased in the PCMR. Again, the world famous crown die chip just refuses to go away. Now, admittedly, this is a very well circulated example. Okay, I probably would probably guess that this is not a Mint State coin. So, I mean, you know, because of circulation wear, how much have these things fallen? You know, not too bad, actually. This one right here ended up selling for $75. You know, so, I mean, these things used to sell as high as $150 back when they were first discovered. But, you know, that big old die chip, that's large enough to go into the letters of E pluribus unum. You can't mistake this one at all. And these are still out there. These floated and were dumped in large numbers in the northern U.S. You know, Wisconsin, Michigan is where a lot of folks were finding these. But people are finding them all across the like northeast of the U.S. as well, and other areas too. So always look for these. Plus, there are other sized die chips that are part of the progression. This is the latest advancement of this progression, but always a good one to find and still worth a decent amount of cash today. So the big coin of the week is a rare one. This is something you don't come across too often, and when you do, they're pretty well beat up or they're rotting from the inside out because they're Zinkins. 1985D. Lincoln cent is a date that you should look at regardless, and primarily for the big repunched mint mark. This is RPM number 1. I believe this one was also sold by Brian Rybar as well. But you can see the repunched mint mark here, and yeah, who would have thought that you could find RPMs in the 1980s dated Lincolns? I knew it, and you guys should know it too. I believe this particular one might be a Cherry Picker's Guide variety, like the FS501 or something like that. But this is one that doesn't come up too often, and when it does, again, they're pretty well beat up. And even the beat up ones still sell for like $10. So, you know, they're not nothing. 1,000 times face value sure beats no face value at all. So this particular coin ended up selling for $39.90. You're probably telling yourself, man, that's a lot for something like that. And it is, because they're tough. And there are other dates to be on the lookout for. I believe 1986 Denver's also had a pretty nice couple RPMs, and I think 87 as well. So always look out for these. They're a great hidden treasure in your change. Well, I would say this is probably the first time I've seen this, and you got to kind of wonder, is there a much later advanced state of this? But it's on a 2013 Lincoln Shield cent, out of all dates. Coin is in just good shape. There's some weird discoloration or staining on Lincoln's face there, so that's worth noting. But yeah, check that out. So we got a rim-to-rim die crack. Most folks would call this a retained die break or retained cud or a pre-cud. We do have some shifting in the devices here on the very leading edge of this scroll where 1 cent is minted on or designed on. So yeah, there's a little bit of shift in the devices there. Very small, but it's there. So I'm wondering if there's a much later advanced progression where there's a full-blown cud right there. Because eventually that piece of die normally falls out, and anything else it mints will be a raised feature because that's where all the metal flow goes into. But yeah, this one's really neat. This one sold for $14. So be on the lookout for more of these. Flip over every 2013 just to make sure you're not missing anything here, because this could be an epic find. So here's the other 2023 that's making some waves right now. The VDB-V variant or error or whatever you want to call this thing has been quite popular. And there's only a few people selling them right now. As much as I talked about this coin the last week or two, I'm surprised there's not more out in the marketplace because they're still selling for a fair share of cash. Now, that extra V that's right next to the main Victor David Brenner initials was not put there on purpose. That was either a well-placed hit on the working hub, because on this coin, it's incuse into the design of the coin. I don't know. I mean, this is a mystery to me, but you can't really argue by the fact that that V is about as close in size to the main letter V of the VDB initials, which I think that makes this one really cool. And I don't know. I think it's the hot thing to find right now. Okay, until someone debunks why this one exists, or if it's something else that's a lot minor. At this point, we're just gonna have to ride the train of this type of error. I'm more skeptical of things like this, but if they're selling for money right now, might as well take advantage of that. How about $45? Okay, these have been selling between $40 and $60. Again, we've seen this particular seller unload a number of these, and I'm willing to bet they're doing really well on them. But always be on the lookout for these. And more news on 2023 Lincoln cents later in this show. Okay, it took me a while to kind of figure out what the heck is the error on here, because the seller mentioned that it's a 1922 peace dollar strike through. I'm sitting there, I'm expecting to look for a nice sized strike through or something to that effect, but it's minor. But boy, finding something so minor, as far as error wise on even this type of coin, can be a little bit of a big deal. So the strike through in question is on the date and the last few letters in the word trust on the obverse. Yeah, just a simple little strike through grease is what we have here. But in today's market, 1922 peace dollar is what, $25? It's about the same price as a generic 1 ounce silver round. But in this particular case, something that minor, I'm pretty sure I've overlooked things like this. And I have owned thousands of these 90% silver dollars. So, keep that in mind. Again, a coin that maybe at melt value is $25, or not melt, but of course there's a little premium in there. So this one ended up selling for 89 doll hairs. 89 doll hairs for this one. I can't even believe that when I heard about it, but yeah, someone paid for it, and it's on its way to its new owner. So, wow, that's a good one. Look out for others like this. All right, so here's one, again, that notorious date that's known for off-centers and broad strikes, 1999. Of course, these were found quite a bit in mint-sewn bags during its day. And even today, if you're able to find a mint-sewn bag at all of this date, then, you know, odds are, chances are, you know, you're going to find is something pretty neat like this. So yeah, we have a nice little, slightly uncentered broad strike here. So there was no collar that was present during the striking process, probably malfunctioned. So all the metal flow goes outwards even more. So this is probably closer to the size of a quarter instead of a nickel. This one sold for $26. So pretty nice example, solid sale. And this is another interesting one. 1955 Denver Lincoln wheat cent. I mean, yeah, this thing has been all over the place, as you can tell. Nothing too crazy grade-wise, but check that out. Really well-known RPM. I believe this is RPM number 2, I think, or maybe 1. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is a very strong RPM. The secondary Denver mintmark is punched south and slightly west in comparison to the main mintmark. But this one also has a little die chip on the T and cent on the reverse. Probably a good die marker to use to ensure that you have the RPM that's listed on like coppercoins.com or doubledie.com. A few other main attribution websites that I personally like. $55.91 was the sale price on here. So yeah, pretty crazy. This was not bid up organically. This was a buy it now listing. So I guess, you know, if someone needed it that bad, you know, they'll pay the money. So another coin that was hot over a year ago, the final National Park quarter, the Tuskegee Airmen, had a number of these crazy strike-throughs that were on the headquarter building on the reverse. This is another good one here. Nice size piece. The heartbreaker in all this is that someone stole it. like not literally, but they did really well here. This one sold for $26.75 with 8 bids. I think this was a late night sale from last night, and that's why it sold for 2 less. So again, I want to stress that when you go to list your items, don't list them too late to where they're going to end late. You're just not going to have the audience available at that time to sell these for a reasonable amount of money. Another cool one here, 1972 Lincoln Memorial Cent, struck with a split obverse die. Wow, that thing's crazy looking. So this is either a split obverse die or a struck through a very late stage split cap die. I'm probably figuring it's a split die and not a cap, because one side is very weak looking, which means this side right here, this side as far as the die is concerned, has more play in it, so it's not going to provide a full strike, while the right side of the coin is very well struck. You know, this does not look like a cap die strike, even a much very late stage. But yeah, this is a heck of a coin. Yeah, there's a few little dings on the reverse, but all in all, this is just a rarity. When you do come across something like this, make sure you're not spending it haphazardly or throwing it in the change jar. You might regret it after I tell you that this one sold for $162.75 with 5 bids. So there you go. Nice little spoils of riches off of this thing. And this one too, yeah, this one I thought was a pretty good deal. This is a 1976D Bicentennial quarter. We all know this one to house some pretty cool varieties. This is indeed the FS101. Now, because of the circulation wear, the splits and the notching aren't as strong on this one as, say, a coin that probably grades out AU and higher. But if you look at like the I, the B, and the E, you could still see that splitting there for this particular variety. Yeah, so this is the doubled die obverse FS101, and this one sold for $90, which we normally don't see it sell for that low amount of money. Here's another Tuskegee Airmen Burning Building Strike Through. Again, these are all P-minted coins, so always look out for these. Now, much more like it, this one ended up selling for $55.59, which is kind of like the normal price for a circulated version of this type of error. There's a little close-up for you. Again, different in size and shape compared to the previous one we looked at about a minute ago. And so here's another error that has kind of dipped in price recently. People were paying crazy amounts of money for lamination errors about a year ago. Like this coin here could have easily sold for about 25, 30 bucks. And they never used to be worth that kind of money. These were kind of the dog and pony show level of errors back in the day, between this and die cracks and things like that. But you can see the lamination issues on the obverse there. Coin is very well circulated. There's no mistaking that. This one right here sold for $12.50 with 6 bids. So again, when you see a lamination that you feel like you can peel off, don't. Leave it on there. Retained laminations are always more desirable to the error collectors that want them. And another wild one here, 2000 Lincoln Memorial Cent, probably pulled out of a mint sewn bag, is not only broadstruck, but also features a sizable indent. The indent occurs when there are 2 planchets that are stacked on top of each other during a strike. So when that happens, you get this as your final product. Pretty wild and nutty. It's a dual error. This one sold for $84.88. These are always going to be very, very popular. Okay, speaking of 2023 Lincolns, we have another reported sale of a full bank box of these things. Yeah, price is still going strong in the pursuit of those VDB-V errors, along with some other stuff. This one right here sold for $118. So just over 4 times face value, still a hot seller. And that's for the P-Mint coins. Not really sure what the D-Mints are going. Haven't seen any reported sales of Denver Mint full bank boxes. Last few coins to wrap things up here for the week. We have a 1973 D Jefferson nickel with a, again, another well-placed, very well-known cud die break that's right on the crown of Jefferson's head. Yeah, pretty sizable. And again, you have that requisite weakness on that same area on the reverse. So always be wary of that. That the two should coexist for a decent sized cud. This one right here sold for $80.25. And then finally, we're going to end things off here again with another scratched up beauty. Oh, it's unfortunate that you know, these exist like this, but 1979p Susan B. Anthony dollar. Check out all of the scratch marks on the obverse. So it's a details coin. However, this is a very nice, attractive broad strike. Again, errors on these type of coins are few and far between. So even with the scratches, they're worth picking up. You know, it might even be your in to ask a little bit less money because it is considered damaged. So something like this, and coin outside of that is still in pretty good shape. I'd probably say probably a low-end mint state condition coin. Sold for $62. So definitely still a valuable coin, even with the distracting scratches on the obverse. But that, ladies and gentlemen, signals the end of the PCMR for the week. Nice little run there. Nice little stack of coins. So you guys have your work cut out for you. The newest, was it the American Women Quarter, I think, comes out in a couple weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be another one to keep a lookout for, as you know, more 2023 coinage is getting added back into circulation, and more fodder for you guys to kind of sort through. So, yeah, that was fun, exciting, and all that stuff. I'm your host, Sean, with BlueRidgeSilverhound. I wish you guys nothing but the best in all of your hunting endeavors. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to today's video if you enjoy the content. And also check me out on TikTok as well, at BlueRidgeSilverhound. Again, I have that final Whatnot auction coming up here this Wednesday, March 22nd. So stay tuned. We got some pretty nice US type coins, a lot of stuff that people had requested. I'll be putting it up on there. Again, everything is buck and go. Starts at $1 and it sells for whatever. We saw that last night on my World Coin Show, where a few people did take home some really massive deals on some of these coins. So again, we're going to continue that on and, give back to the community because that's what you guys deserve. But hopefully I'll see you guys then on Wednesday. Aside from that, have a great day, enjoy your weekend, and happy hunting.